far do you think they can take this? Who's going to put a shell on their child's back?
Bro, some kid's going to be like, my kid's a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and it's
some
fucking
people are really into Teenage
You're
Mutant
going to
Ninja
call him
Turtles,
fucking
dude.
Michelangelo from now on, and he's going to come out there.
It's going to be a tough birth for the wife.
Shit, living in-
I see the shell.
I see the shell. So guys, we've done it, eh? I'm fucking proud of us, boys.
Finally starting. Finally
Yeah.
launching, dude.
After a long time of speaking, being drunk, hoping that it's all
over a
going to
year.
work out. Yeah, it's been
Yeah,
long.
every year in the making, but we finally here.
We finally set it up, boys.
Yeah.
I'm happy with the setup.
So,
I hope everyone likes it. I hope the microphones sound good.
Yeah. And if you
And yeah.
support us, we'll probably eventually be able to move out of Franco's mom's house. So,
yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
That would be great. So yeah, welcome to the Weekly Order, everyone. This is going to be a podcast hosted by 3 South African friends. If you have any idea topics for us or anything that you want us to cover, please write in the comments, let us know, and we'll just try
we'll
to
consider it. and
Yeah, I'll drop
probably-
us an
We'll
email.
probably say no, but
Probably
yeah.
not. No, we've got quite a strict schedule of what we're talking about.
We got ourselves some whiskeys here just to settle the nerves for the first one, but I feel like we've
Someone in a second.
yeah.
Someone
Someone
there
there second.
It is 10 o'clock in the morning
So
as
I
well.
said a
Just-
night out last night as well, so
By the way.
I'm fucking struggling. Yeah. But
Yeah,
I mean,
we're here, we're doing it, and we're
It's gonna be
excited.
good. Yeah. So basically, like I said, we're a South African podcast, and we're going to try to cover South African topics for everyone. We feel like no one's really doing this in the space yet. And I don't know. One of the issues that came to our mind first were that South Africa has now banned spanking your children.
Mm.
It's
It's
actually
quite,
it's been declared unlawful by the Constitutional Court, which is
and the Constitutional Court. I didn't even know that myself. I was wondering if this was maybe a lower court at a in the initial stage. It went from the High Court, then it went straight to the Constitutional Court.
So there was a matter in the High Court where it was, I think it was a guy,
It's going to sound like a Little Wayne song now. I just lit my fucking cigarette while.
he beat his child, essentially his 13-year-old son, and they said,
Yeah,
listen,
how did it
I
start?
read something
How
about
did it
that,
start?
bro.
So it
What was
a-
the initial case?
I don't know the name of the case, but it was a father. What the term is, it's called chastisement.
That doesn't sound very good,
It's
eh?
punishing your child.
It doesn't,
It
yeah.
sounds more sexual than
Yeah, it does a little
anything,
bit, bro, yeah.
Dude, that guy
Sounds
just
like-
chastised
He
his
just
child.
chastised his fucking child.
No, so in our law, essentially, we were entitled to reasonable chastisement. So that means reasonable punishment.
Punishment, basically. So
Yeah,
chastisements,
yeah.
punishments. Okay,
Essentially.
perfect.
So the problem with that is that to some people, a spank on the ass is reasonable. To other people, putting a belt around your child's neck and riding him is reasonable.
Each to their own.
Fucking great.
Each to their own, I guess.
And that became in dispute in this matter, where a father essentially, I don't know the actual facts of it, but he beat his child quite badly, and the court ruled, you know what, we can't go on this reasonable chastisement. It's too much of an open term.
Okay.
So they banned it, and then this was obviously appealed by. It was actually appealed by a religious movement.
I saw that. I saw it
think.
was a religious forum, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, we don't want to cover too much religion on this podcast ourselves.
No.
So we're
Yeah.
going to leave the religious part out of it, but we're just basically going to mention what they said. And what I think they basically try to say is that they basically don't have the right to religion then.
Yeah.
Because, in most religions, it says you are actually allowed to basically punish your child to a certain degree. And then they saying that now the law is interfering with their right to religion.
Yes.
If I'm correct or incorrect.
I mean, I didn't go into the reasons why,
That
but I
deep,
would
yeah.
assume if it is a religious party, maybe that's what it was. But
Yeah.
it ended up in the Constitutional Court eventually.
And if people don't know, that is the highest court in the land.
Yeah.
Whatever is said there is
it goes.
it goes.
Yeah.
It's one of those things. It's like when you ask your dad for a cupcake, he says no, and then the mom says yes, it goes. Your mom's always the one that runs the household. So
yeah. So that's that situation.
It's like your
very
mom
good
saying-
analogy there, Franco.
thank you, I tried.
I hope you're all not cringing too badly at that one. Yes, so it ended up with the Constitutional Court, and the Constitutional Court upheld the decision of the High Court and said all chastisement essentially cannot happen because it's too difficult to monitor. So what has happened now is there's a bill essentially being brought out. It's currently, if I'm not mistaken, it's still under comment, which it's
and for those who don't know, a bill is obviously just a piece of writing on paper that becomes legislation.
Yes, it's
eventually.
not an act
So
as of
for
yet.
people, it's for people to actually comment on and see what's going on.
Yeah, so it's the Children's Amendment Bill, and it basically, I hate to quote stuff, but I'll quote it now quickly. It just says that any person caring for a child, including a person who has parental responsibilities and rights in respect of a child, must not treat or punish the child in a cruel, inhumane, or degrading way. That's fine, I can do that. But then it goes, any punishment within the home or other environments in which physical force or action is used and intended to cause some degree of pain or harm to the child is unlawful. Now, that's a bummer because every single spanking, you want to cause some sort of pain. Like,
that is the point of the
it's
spanking.
the point of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't want to.
I mean, even if
be
it's in the
pained because
bedroom,
they're gonna do it
supposed to be a
again.
form
Yeah,
of
even if
punishment.
it's in the
Yeah.
bedroom, you want
Yeah.
that pain.
So I mean, now this has opened up a can of worms because I mean I think children at the moment in general are horrifically behaved, but I also somewhat agree with the judgment in that.
It is a 50-50. It
Yeah.
is a big 50-50.
But where do you draw the line, though?
Yeah, so the nice thing is...
Well, that's why they banned everything.
yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the nice thing, though. We have two people here who have a legal background, right?
Yeah.
So we might perceive this in a legal sense, right?
Yeah.
Michael, who doesn't have any sort of legal background,
None whatsoever.
he can take this from your he can take this from your everyday citizen sort of point of view, you know?
Yeah.
Because we're obviously looking at the legislation and the case law, and we're
Yeah.
like, well, what they're saying, what they're arguing, but
Yeah.
you obviously going to just look at it straight from a normal citizen point of view. So I think let's do a quick fire round of agree with the legislation or you don't agree with the legislation. Are you guys happy with that?
It's yeah, but I can't agree
Obviously,
with
the
this.
thing is, okay,
Yeah.
so just give me a 5-second rap,
Okay.
and then we'll go into it further, obviously. But give me a 5-second rap on whether you actually agree with it or disagree with it.
Okay, I'll explain mine quickly.
Okay, Frey, go. Shoot.
So I don't agree or disagree. Essentially, the problem is I agree in the sense that it's hard to decide what is defined as reasonable and it'll never succeed. What I disagree with is that I don't think it's going to be much of a deterrent to actual abuse cases because abusing your child has always been illegal. So because now that spanking is illegal doesn't mean that the abuser are going to be like, oh shit, I can't spank my child. So it's abuse. They're still going to abuse their children regardless, you know? So I don't, and also to enforce this. I mean, what is the child going to go to
That's
court
what I
and
was
be like,
thinking. I'll
listen,
weigh in my
dude.
opinion now, but
yeah, like I've got,
how are you going to report this? How are you going to monitor this?
yeah, I got spanked. Where's the judge? You know, I don't know
How do you
what-
prove this? What's the...
Yeah.
I don't know what.
What's going on?
Because there's always going to be a spoiled
Spoiled
brat
brat. One of those
who
fucking-
is going to go cry wolf.
Yeah.
He's going to go cry wolf. So
Yeah.
It's but so. Yeah, I'll carry on with it afterwards, but that's essentially my opinion
So basically,
on
you're
that.
not for it, you're not against it. You basically just want to see how it's going to unravel.
In finality, I essentially think that it's just going to have no effect. I think it's going to do worse than it is going to do good because people who normally punish their children in a reasonable manner will not be able to anymore, and the abusers will continue to abuse.
Okay.
That's my view.
Perfect, Mike.
okay, yeah. I mean, I don't. Yeah, I can see where they're trying to come from with the whole thing, but at the same time, I can also only because like I don't have that law background either. So all I can go on is the way that I was raised.
That's true.
And I think most people will probably go from that standpoint as well.
That's
is
true,
how
'cause
they
you
were
actually
raised.
bring this up in front of
Were
other
you
people.
beaten as a sorry, spanked as a child. Were you
Beaten.
reasonably chastised as a child?
Look, I mean, many a wooden spoon got broken on me, many a belting,
I was the same. I didn't get a belt. Jesus.
and I feel as though I turned out okay. So,
And I see. I think that's where the argument is going to get. I don't want to say vague, but people are going to always take what's happening and compare it to their own lives.
yes, yeah,
like
of course.
you're saying,
Back in
of
my
course.
day.
As we just saw right now, we thought about it from maybe a legal point of view.
Yeah.
Where Mike was like, the first thing that came to his mind was, okay, what happened to my household? What happened in my
Yeah,
household?
and look where I am now.
And look where I am
mean,
now.
it's-
I turned out all right.
Yeah.
A few spoons were broken, but I turned out all right.
But on the same page,
Yeah.
you could get someone who could be like, I've been abused and I'm
Also,
in a horrible
right.
condition.
so-
you
They
know?
could
Yeah.
be alright though. You know what I'm saying?
They could be, but
They
it's
could be
still
alright, but-
abuse. I mean, I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
no,
support
I'm
it.
not.
And
I'm not going for it either. You know, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that the way people turn out.
I'm pretty
could
sure
go
there's some
either
type
way,
of
you know, I think
trauma
Yeah,
that
it's like-
that
it's like
arises
with
from
drugs,
it.
bro. People always say, like with drugs, listen, I'm on drugs because all the sad shit happened in my life.
Yeah.
And you can't be like, you can't relate with the person because maybe that sad stuff didn't happen in their lives.
Yeah.
But the reason they're on drugs or overusing drugs or whatever always has a personal meaning to them.
Yes,
Or maybe they just actually just like
Sometimes you're a dirt,
for
so
me
just
for
get
like
it
5
fixed.
days.
Yeah,
you know, maybe
you
I
know.
should just enjoy the jolt.
To
But
me, yeah, to me, it's always an excuse.
okay, so I
But-
think I might have interrupted you a bit there, Mark. Sorry. So, for it or against it?
So, for me, it's a tough one as well. I'm gonna have to, go with Ray on it. In that, I'm not against it, but I'm not for it either.
Okay.
I don't. Yeah, I'm like sort of in between. I can kind of see, but what type of punishment are you going to go for now?
Yeah, the replacement punishments.
You know,
essentially.
because there has to be some type of
way of actually controlling an out of hand child.
because otherwise, the next generation is just going to grow up to be
Fucking
you know,
reckless.
absolutely
To put
reckless.
it blunt,
Yeah,
they're gonna.
Parents are going to be in court all the time.
I can imagine,
Yes.
bro. I can
So
just imagine
the-
one of these kids when they're like 12 years old getting beaten. Like, oh, I'm gonna take you to the fucking constitutional
We
court.
keep
Mom.
Yeah.
saying beaten. If you're getting beaten, go to court.
yes.
You actually have to distinguish it, Joe.
Yeah.
It's spanking and being beaten, right? So spanking is obviously a light sort of tap.
Yeah.
I think they would
I
describe
mean,
it as.
mine weren't too light. It
No.
hurt like hell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me weigh in a bit. So I think, obviously, with everything and with a lot of legislation that's in place, there's always a line that has to be drawn, right?
Yeah.
Right? So, obviously, if a kid is out of hand, you have to punish him in some sort of way. Obviously, to control the child, make sure that he's not acting in a way that you don't want your child to be acting, At the end of the day, the parent is going to choose how the child is brought up. It's their right, it's their child. Okay? But there is definitely a line that crosses normal punishments. And we can all agree with that. Abuse
Yeah,
is bad.
100%,
Beating
yeah.
someone is bad. It's not a good thing, and especially when it's a minor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? When it's a minor, I think it always just it levels it up a stage or two.
But the
So-
difficulty comes down, where is that line?
That's the problem.
Mm.
And it reminds me of that thing in cricket, right? Another analogy by Frank Overson. But in cricket,
One of many to come.
I don't even like cricket that much, but it's a perfect analogy. So where the bowler can actually stump out the batsman if he crosses the line, that grey area of where the
When he's actually
So when-
when he's
yeah,
about
so
to
it is,
bowl.
yeah.
And there was that big controversial sports event or whatever the fuck happened in that. I think it was South Africa versus Namibia or something. They beat us in cricket. I don't even know who it was, but it was a big deal. Pommy, my boy Pommy, he actually fucking went and did a whole analogy on it. But they were saying there as well, basically, what is the line? Is it allowed? Is it not allowed? There's a
Yeah.
grey area.
Yeah.
Stop making grey areas and actually just make it black and white for people so they can decide, is it right, is it wrong?
Yeah.
Well,
I guess that's why
Grey
they did this whole thing as well to
yeah, so
to
it
draw
seems like
that.
they've taken the stance of it's wrong.
Yeah.
We're not going to be doing this. It's wrong.
Well, I actually read that in one of the articles that I saw. It said it's now black and white. It's not
Yeah.
grey. You don't spank your child, and that's it.
Yeah, the problem is going to be the long-term
Effects of this.
effects
Do you
of this
think-
whole thing
Do you think it will?
as a
think it will.
generation.
Do you think,
I think
the
it will.
spanking of your child affects?
Look, bro, people
There has
are
to
gonna-
be some
people
form
are
of
going to
discipline,
spank
though.
their children no matter what the
Okay,
fuck
yeah,
it
no,
is.
I agree.
I'm
I agree.
saying,
That's
does
gonna
it?
happen.
Yeah.
I can guarantee you
Do you
that.
think you being spanked had a huge impact on the way you are now?
It's tough to say.
Hmm.
It is a tough question. I think, yes, I do. Yeah, I do.
I think so.
I think it did play a big role in how I was brought up.
Because you have to learn right from wrong at a young age.
You do.
And even though yeah, so like we were saying, it's that line between what is abuse and what is sort of allowing you to learn that discipline of what is right and what is wrong.
Fuckers whiskey is killing
So-
me, bro.
Have you had a sip yet?
I've had a few, and it's fucking dreadful.
It's nice and smooth, eh?
Oh, I'm loving it.
It is quite smooth. But yeah, back on the topic. I think basically, to sum it up, on my behalf, right, is that I don't know how they're going to monitor it. I don't know how
Agreed.
kids are actually going to report it. How is a kid going to stand up
Yeah.
and defy their parents' orders and be like, listen, I'm taking you to court, you've spanked me.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to enforce, but I see, they're even imposing, or they intend on imposing jail terms for
I
severe
saw
cases.
it. I saw it, but severe cases,
Now,
obviously,
severe
that
cases,
is-
what
they
the
have to
fuck is a
define
severe
it.
case?
Obviously, what is a severe case? When you have a bruise,
Yeah.
is that too far? Or when you have a cut, a broken
Yeah.
bone, what is too far?
Yeah.
What is the line?
Yeah.
Because obviously we can all agree you can't bruise, cut, or actually break bones. And it happens. It happens
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
there. And I think what's quite interesting from a South African standpoint, right, is that we have so many diverse cultures, okay, and they all actually handle their kids in a certain way, right? So Afrikaans parents and your Zulu and Xhosa and all those type of other people I think, right, are more strict on their children than English speaking parents.
I would agree.
I agree
As
too.
a whole, it is quite a bold statement to make.
Yeah,
I think they
I
are
agree
much
too.
more strict.
Yes,
Okay.
definitely.
And it would be interesting to see. It would be very interesting to see which dynamic, which culture these abuse cases actually come up in more. Okay.
Because also just you talking about that now, I mean, it just shows that there's so much more influence in this decision, like cultural rights, religious rights,
religious rights, all of that comes into play when you're actually making something like this.
Yeah.
And another thing that ties into it, right, is if you want to compare things or do things, right, we can all agree, laying any sort of hand, right, whether it's minor or really physical on a woman is wrong, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's 100%
yeah.
wrong, right? You cannot lay a hand on a woman, okay? Whether it's a light spanking, even if she asks for it in the bedroom or something.
But what if she punches you first?
It gets very controversial, you see?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, why are people so quick to protect women? Which is right. It's right.
Yeah.
I agree with it fully. No one should ever touch women, right?
Yeah.
In a physical or hurtful manner.
Just in case you guys thought otherwise.
Yeah. But now, kids, how do you distinguish?
I
Is
think
it
those
right
are
or
two.
It goes back to
different
that
cases.
discipline thing, though.
Yeah.
It goes back to that discipline
Okay,
thing.
and then a minor female,
But still your child. I mean,
but a spanking, or
what's all?
like a harder spanking, you know, like, or is it abuse?
Yeah, no, I don't think it's relevant whether it's a female or
Yeah,
a
neither
male
do I, as a
child.
minor child, yeah.
It's coming from the sense that you're their parent. It's not a random person.
And you're
But
trying to
don't you
mold
feel
them
like,
into...
like
yeah.
males could actually handle pain better than females?
Not necessarily.
Yeah, I mean, it's a speculation, and this whole judgment is trying to push out speculation.
Yeah, no, I
So
agree with you. But I'm just saying, there's all these complexities to one small issue.
Yeah.
You know, that people could be thinking about.
And that's why it's been such a big talking point.
And I don't know if you guys have actually looked at Twitter, which is obviously the public's opinion on this, but so many people are against it. It's a very big, they're like, fuck this, I want to
Yeah.
spank my child. when
Well,
they
like
do
you said,
something.
yeah, people are
Yeah.
going to do it regardless.
They're going to do it regardless.
But I agree with what the court's intentions was to try and cut out abuse, which I unfortunately don't think they are going to do, because an abuser is going to abuse regardless of what the law says.
And I agree with that. I agree with that
Yeah.
fully, because it's like, murder's wrong, but there's still people murdering.
Yeah.
You know,
I
just
mean,
because legislation's in place doesn't.
Can someone
literally-
illegalize murder, please? I mean, that would be
It
great.
has been for many years.
Yeah.
Pretty
But
sure.
yeah, no, it makes a lot of sense, you know, that obviously these laws are just there to protect, right? And a thing that you learn in the law, like when you're studying law, it's also to protect you from yourself, you know? A lot of people sometimes, you know, they don't know what they actually doing, their actions and what they lead to. So the law is sort of there to also like let you know.
It's a guideline.
It's a guideline.
How to act.
It is crazy. Not
essentially.
really just a guideline. You go to prison if you break these guidelines.
You kind of have to abide by them.
It's not a vague.
It's not like
that you can follow.
try and follow this, and if you actually
If you don't, it's okay.
It's okay. We'll forgive you this time. Next time, no. You can obviously, if you murder someone, you're going to fucking jail if they catch you.
Okay, but here's a question now. What is next? Okay, so now I have a child. I don't have a child. But I'm saying I have a child now. It's,
or do you?
Or do I? I don't know.
Could be.
Well, I
One
do
running
know.
around.
So Kim, I know that I don't have a child. My child's now, say, 9 years old. It is a child from Satan himself, and I need to. Yes, it's going to sound so bad how I talk about a child, but I need to punish it.
Yeah.
I need to punish it.
Him/her.
No. Okay. Yeah.
But the thing is, leading up to that year of age, you would have been putting things into place
Exactly.
to get that child into knowing what's right and what's wrong
Yeah.
through certain methods. Obviously,
yeah,
So
So
what
obviously-
are those methods?
Exactly.
People are going to say,
What are they gonna be now?
take away the phones, take away the toys.
My child at 4 is not going to have a phone.
Yeah, that's what I'm
tell
saying.
you that
Toys.
much.
In
They're
this
obviously
day
going to
and
have some sort of attachment to something. Take away that attachment so that they
Yeah.
realize what they've done is bad.
I mean, my girlfriend thinks that I talk a hard game, I'm gonna be extremely soft on the child, which I think I am, but I can tell you the child's not gonna have a phone at the age of 5 and stuff like that.
But that's what I'm saying. So I don't know. I also did psychology first year. I don't know what you chose when you studied.
Not psychology. No.
So with psychology, there's a thing called positive and negative reinforcement, right? So positive reinforcement is when you do something good, you get rewarded for it, and negative reinforcement is when you do something bad, you get badly or
so that's what we had.
Reinforced, right?
You get like a little shock or something.
Say that might be one of the ulterior.
That's not a bad idea.
You know,
but doing positive reinforcements.
Positive reinforcements, obviously, for when you do well, and negative reinforcement for when you do something negative, right?
I think that could work.
They actually do this a lot with animals as well. So when a dog does something well, you give him a treat. He realizes I'm doing something well. I'm sitting when my owner says sit. I'm going to give you a cookie.
Well, that's essentially how you train dogs.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a big thing in psychology, positive and negative reinforcement, and the best way to go about it, right? So people's rebuttal to why you shouldn't spank a child is because there's other forms of punishment out there that work just as effectively, and it could be something like positive or negative reinforcement.
That's not a bad idea.
I think that could work as well. Yeah. I mean,
now, what do you do when you get to that? Okay, fuck that toy, or I don't need my phone for the next 24 hours. I'm still going to be a bad child. See,
I think those will be quite rare cases, to be honest.
It will be rare cases, but it's going to happen. You know, I mean, I know a lot of when we were younger, obviously, and you had negative reinforcements in some sort of way of taking away your phone, or you can't play PlayStation.
You know you're going to get it back, though.
You know you're going to get it back, and
it
doesn't
and
really
I think,
leave that. That
kids learn at a very young age.
Mindset of actually being spanked, actually being.
Yeah, kids learn at a very young age to manipulate the parents as well.
It is true, eh? I remember they were saying that kids actually start learning things like manipulating, understanding things from as young as like 3-4 months, you know?
Yeah.
As soon as being born,
Yeah, dude, and they're going to catch on.
I might have thrown in a stat that fucking is not true or something. But I remember it somewhere, and my memory is pretty good, but something like that. It was something that was very young, and they actually did realize that. Like,
so they are going to catch on. They're going to catch on.
Also, for our listeners, if we throw stats out there, do not take them seriously.
Yeah, please. We haven't.
Don't quote us on anything.
Yeah, we may have
statistics. If you say percentages and all these kind of things, just leave us alone. Okay. But another thing I want to speak to you guys about is that I've actually taken screenshots of countries that have actually done this and the dates in which they did this.
What, they've legalized
Oh,
spanking.
okay.
Okay, so they call it corporal punishment, obviously.
Yes.
Okay,
so they call it
chastisement. Okay. So when do you think the first... guessing game. Who was the first country and which year?
It's probably one of those first world, like Australia. Or
first world countries, fuck them.
I think they're better than us.
We had to ship these mics in from one of them. So I'm just kidding, we've got them here.
I don't know, I'd probably say the States or like I want to say Germany or something, bro.
I say
know.
New
Germany,
Zealand.
eh? I wouldn't say Germany. Yeah, sorry. Obviously, I know the answer.
So it's Germany then?
No,
I would say like New Zealand or Oz or...
New Zealand or Australia. That's quite left wing. Not left wing.
What do you mean left wing? It's not,
I wouldn't have expected it.
Applicable at all.
Okay, so it was Sweden in 1966.
1966?
1966. Sweden was the first country to ban spanking against your child.
Okay. Wow.
I don't know any Swedish teenagers, so I don't know how they behave. But
well, apparently Sweden's pretty good.
Okay, yeah.
Everything there runs pretty decently, apparently. And I don't know. They actually set a lot of trends in the world in terms of legislation, how to run your country and everything. So that's very interesting. And there's a total of, like if I had to guess, there's a total of maybe 80 countries that have already...
You're kidding?
I was about to say, are we like one of the last countries to adopt this?
And I'll pop it on screen for all the viewers. These are all your countries with the years. Basically, it goes Sweden, Finland, Norway, Austria, Denmark, Portugal. The list goes on. I'm not going to list everyone. Among some of these countries, you even have, and they vary, the way they, all over the world is actually quite astonishing. So you have some Middle Eastern countries like Israel. You have you have New Zealand. New Zealand only adopted it in 2007 compared to 1966 of Sweden. Okay. Then South Africa, Scotland, France, and Kosovo have all adopted it this year. Okay, guys, we ran into a bit of a technical issue there. On the Zoom, there was the card was full. We're back up and running now. I think let's just conclude on what we had before. Basically, we can all agree that we're not for or against it because it's quite vague at the moment. We don't know how it's all going to settle down. But we think it is a good thing to look into. Firstly, it's a good thing to actually have a look at.
Yeah.
As we've seen now that other countries have done it and we're just following actually suit. And I think
like we were saying, basically, if it's monitored and done correctly, then obviously, you can take away spanking and use other forms of punishment to rather actually look after.
But overall, I just think to enforce it and monitor it, it's just not going to work.
It's going to be a tough one.
Parents are still going to spank their children, bro.
Yeah, 100%. So let's see how it goes.
Maybe
see what happens.
Maybe it's raised awareness to some parents that might have actually been borderlining
going
over that line, actually borderline abuse, and maybe it's just made a few parents actually think, okay, let's tone this down a bit, use other forms of punishment, because it has been a topic for a long time. On the topic of kids and babies, have you seen that they're actually trying to genetically modify babies now, which I think is wacky as shit, bro.
Because they genetically modify them to like remove diseases and shit, like potential.
So there's upsides to it, right? And I saw that there's upsides to it, but did you guys see how it started or not?
No, because when you say genetically enhanced babies, I'm thinking they're trying to create super soldiers. Yeah, but I don't think that that's the case.
No, So how it happened though, it started, they call him a rogue doctor. Okay?
Just going on his own.
It's like there was a rogue doctor. But a rogue doctor in China, his name was...
Yes, it was Jing.
Obviously we're pronouncing it wrong because we're not Chinese or Japanese, so we don't know how to pronounce his name.
Jiangku.
That's him, right? So we tried our best, but basically he went, right, and actually did something to his two twins, right? They didn't really say what he did or what happened, but apparently the science community and the doctors
they've like sparked a bit of outrage in that whole
So essentially what the case is with my brother's luckily studying genetics and something, along those degrees sound.
Obviously the younger brother.
Mitchell, if you're listening. Ouch. So he's studying like genetics and stuff, and we were chatting about it briefly. So you essentially get two types of genetic modification. So you get somatic, and then the other one is called germline genetic modification. So somatic is where somatic is essentially where you're trying to eradicate genetic disorders such as probably the cancer gene.
And we for that. Can we agree? Obviously, get away the HIV, get away all the bad things. That's going to obviously up the human race. You know,
of course. Yeah.
I mean, think about all the diseases back in the day that we've got obviously vaccinations for and things now. Most of the country, most of the population is there for the vaccinations.
That's another topic.
Another topic for another day. But it does, at the end of the day, make humans live longer. It makes us actually...
Which is another problem in itself. Because
the
population
saving up for that longer term of retirement, now it's obviously longer. It makes a big issue.
But we should be dead by the time there's huge...
But I think I'm going to die every single day, so... But
paranoid.
Then you get germline genetic modification. I mean, if I'm saying this incorrectly, please forgive me.
We're not scientists. We're obviously just trying to touch on this topic.
More than welcome to correct us as well.
Yeah. So that essentially is manipulating specific genes for your child.
You know who would have loved this, eh? You know who would have loved this is fucking Hitler. Imagine this kind of stuff was around. No, but it's true.
For real, though.
For real. Imagine
I'm pretty sure they try to dabble in some of that as well.
Definitely, bro. Just took the fucking mic here. But anyway, imagine he had powers like this, bro. Told his doctors, listen, every little fucking kid that comes out of here now is going to have blonde hair and blue eyes. That is crazy to me, and that kind of shit needs to be monitored. I mean, imagine
that's scary stuff, dude.
That is scary stuff, bro. The power to genetically modify people. Goodness fucking gracious, where are we going?
Well, that's the case. So it is actually illegal in most countries. I think it's 40 countries that it's illegal in, and there's actually an international treaty on not doing it.
And like we know, correct, but like we know about treaties, a treaty, no one.
Good luck
just disobey a treaty and nothing happens. A treaty, Mark. Basically, it's okay. You broke the treaty.
What is it, like a type of verbal agreement?
How do you take another country to court?
Yes, so treaties,
so you
international, essentially binding documents.
Yeah, it's just a binding document that they say you should obey these laws. But people,
if you don't,
break it, there's really no consequence.
So you have the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court in The Hague in Netherlands.
And they can summons you and say, come here, but you can also just be the president and be like, I'm going to
stay in my country.
It really is. It's crazy.
Think about the Al-Bashir case. Remember, fuck man, where was he from? He was from Sudan or something like that.
Yeah.
And he got, we got in South Africa. He came to South Africa, and we were instructed to hand him over or detain him and hand him over to the ICC.
Yes, I remember this. I remember this.
Said,
South Africa in true fashion just let him go.
So that just shows, and there's no consequences to South Africa. It just shows how
these treaties work. Yeah.
Okay.
And, then we
And it's good that
threatened
they're there,
withdrawing
and
from the
obviously you get good countries that try obey
treaty.
them.
There has
and
been
obviously-
success
Yeah.
before.
But the problem is, if you really want to break these treaties, almost like any sort of legislation as well, but except when it's a country, it's a bit harder to lock the country up. But yeah, they're quite hard to actually. So when you have a treaty that actually condemns genetically modified babies, people can still go and do it. If a country says, fuck you guys, we actually want to do this,
Yeah.
and we want our country
But
to be a superior race,
But that's the
it's going
difference.
to be
in,
very hard to
yeah.
actually get this.
That's the difference in this situation. It's actually illegal in 40
Different countries. Yeah.
Prohibited by law in more than 40 countries and by a binding international treaty.
But there's 174 countries well, not remaining, but
So that's not a whole lot.
A lot of the
174
countries that are not included in this treaty will probably not have the technology.
I would love to know if someone like North Korea is in there, bro. I'm going to try to Google it for us now. But imagine North Korea. They probably would love this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I guess
Dude,
so.
whether
I want to
they
see if it's illegal.
yeah.
You guys can keep speaking, obviously, but is...
How much information are we going to pull up here on North Korea though?
Yeah.
That they monitor that stuff, bro?
Yeah. North Korea does not do this.
Modified babies illegal in North Korea.
I mean,
Guide to law online. South Korea.
South Korea.
no,
Yeah,
you're not going
you're
to
gonna get
anything.
anything.
in North Korea.
I don't think you're going to
I would
find
hope-
too much
I
over
would
there.
hope that it is illegal there, though.
But
I doubt it.
it's an extremely interesting thing. I mean, what
It
is the
started in
future
China,
hold for
right?
it?
What
It started
did
in
Did it
China.
start in China?
Yeah, that's where the rogue doctor
The
was
rogue
from.
doctor
Rogue-
came from.
there.
No, it started in China, right? And that's quite
Close to a country with maybe the same...
No, but Zimbabwe's also next to us. We got electricity. They don't. Well, we barely do, but
Yeah.
But yeah, so because I just glanced past it now, they said alongside with nuclear prospects of Iran, North Korea, and China.
Yeah, you type in North Korea, you're just going to get nuclear.
Yeah,
So,
but
Yeah.
it's just what I'm saying is sort of grouping those countries in sort of the same.
but
Yeah,
yeah,
but what is the outcome that they are wanting to achieve with this whole genetically enhanced?
are you talking about the germline one where they want to basically change,
Alter.
deliberately alter
Yes.
the genes?
Yeah. What
It's,
is
it's to have a baby
The way you want it
that you
to.
want it to
That
be,
you want it-
essentially.
but like in terms of what though?
But how wacky can
I
this shit
don't, I
get,
don't
bro?
know. Yeah, I don't know how far it can go.
Imagine some dads like, I want my kids to have a 10-inch dick. Put it in.
Yeah.
Can
I
that
want
be
my
done?
kid... I don't know. I want my kids to have 3
Is it supposed to
arms.
be like trying to get rid of like things like autism, or is that the other one?
so
Is that the other one?
somatic.
And we all agreed on
Yeah.
that before. We said, that's good stuff.
100%,
We're
yeah.
happy with that.
Get
Yeah.
rid of these diseases that are
But it's the
crumbling us,
germline one
As the human race, right?
that
But the
could
thing
get
is,
a little bit
there's
dodgy.
always those fucking people that are going to do the weirdest shit that you never expect. right?
Exactly, dude.
But if no
You
one
know?
was watching you and no one knew about this and you had the opportunity to genetically modify your baby,
Baby, it's
into your baby that you would want, say,
I would leave it the same.
say
You wanted
good
to
at
have,
sport, highly intelligent. I don't know how far this thing
I
goes.
don't know if you say
but-
good at sport, but I'm saying I'm looking more at a physical aspect. You wanted to have blonde hair, blue eyes.
Yeah.
I think that they could probably alter first before they could make you a good
Yeah.
sportsman. You kind of have to train for
But
that
I
one.
mean, in that,
True, but I mean, you could be sort of like a physical.
The physical it can make you probably bigger.
Yeah.
But you still have to have
what I mean.
skill.
Yes,
you know?
yeah, I didn't mean
skill
you'd
is,
be
yeah.
born a rugby player. I
Yeah.
mean, you'll have skills, or I'm sure you can change them to be highly intelligent or
I don't
whatever.
know.
dude.
Surely
I
that's a
don't
whole
know.
different story, though, in
Yeah.
terms of like intelligence and stuff.
Yeah, see, we're not smart enough for that stuff.
Yeah.
So this is for any viewers
This
that
is-
are
yeah.
actually watching us. Please assist with
This is just
this
an
concept.
opinion.
Yeah.
Just an opinion,
Um,
and we obviously don't know
Yeah, we have no science background.
much about the sciencey shit, but like we saying from the opinion point of view, we can't monitor people with what they're going to do to their children.
You know? If someone really in a country that they're going to make some wacky shit, we're
Yeah,
going to have Pokemon people running around. Like 4-arm people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's available to them.
This one's got a shell on its back. The next one's got wings. It's like, what the fuck have you done?
Yeah.
How far do you think they can take this? Who's going to put a shell on their child's back?
Bro, some kid's gonna be like, my kid's a Teenage Mutant Ninja
Hey,
Turtle,
man.
and it's
Some
fucking
people are really into Teenage
You're
Mutant
gonna
Ninja
call him
Turtles,
fucking
dude.
Michelangelo from now on, and he's gonna come out there.
That's going to be a tough birth for the wife.
Shit, living in-
Oh, I see the shell.
I see the shell. Yeah, I think it could get very wacky though, and that's what I'm saying.
It could
I don't
quite
know.
easily, dude.
But you try, but you can't monitor things again.
Yeah,
you know?
so I think we can address this topic again in a future podcast if we receive some
Good
comments
feedback
from
from
supporters and stuff.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I would love to expand on this, but we just
do not
we
have the
do
knowledge
not have the
ourselves.
knowledge of
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
Can't comment
Yeah,
on too much of it.
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
But I mean, speaking about knowledge, I always thought of myself as a very smart person, but I think there's someone in Canada that's smarter than all of us. Have you heard about that story?
Is it the guy
What story
who
is this?
sued
Red Bull. Oh my
What a pioneer.
fucking word.
What a
What
pioneer.
a pioneer. He has sued Red Bull. I'm going to pull it up here. But he has sued Red Bull for not giving him wings. Can you fucking believe
You know,
it?
he's
To
not
get-
the first case. There was one before that.
You joking?
There was one early on in the 2000s, but I think they settled outside of court. So he got a settlement figure, and essentially Red Bull said, it wasn't in Canada, I don't think.
Yeah.
And Red Bull essentially said, we're not admitting liability, however, just take this money and fuck off, please.
That is
'Cause-
fucking...
Was this whole situation not
Crazy.
settled out of court
no,
as well?
No, this was a judgment, if I'm not mistaken, was actually granted.
There's a picture of a guy with wings.
Doesn't help.
That's the first thing it shows. Okay, so Red Bull are paying happy customers who feel the company falsely promised them wings after drinking the energy drink. News reporter, a Canadian filed the lawsuit in 2016 claiming Red Bull made false declarations regarding the usefulness of its products. I also did read into it though. The lawsuit wasn't just about giving you wings. It was also about physical and mental capabilities, because you know Red Bull people are like, I concentrate better when I
Yes, yeah.
I perform better, you know,
Yeah.
and it is an energy drink, and they try to advertise it in that way, right? So it was kind of interesting. Maybe they didn't win the battle just on
Do
basically.
you think the media spun it to seem like
Horribly.
he was only suing because he didn't get
Yeah.
wings?
Crazy thing though, they settled. Okay, so Red Bull didn't want all of this fucking drama. So they
Is that not the first, the early 2000s, Matt? Are you looking at the one, I think his name is what, Michael Attar?
yes,
Yes.
this is it.
Oh, so they
the
settled.
first case was in 2007.
Yeah.
It says so they settled it. Okay, and every person who drank a
Yeah,
Red
they got
Bull
paid
can
out.
now.
Since
Yeah.
yeah,
Did you hear what happened after that? So the website, they designed a website where people can actually go on
and
and
claim
submit
their
their claim.
$10 or whatever it is.
that
Yeah,
website crashed. That's how many people went to go claim their fucking $10.
But doesn't that Red Bull just sounds pathetic? They just say, file papers and be like, no, you fucking clown. Obviously, wasn't going to give you wings.
Dude, it's fucking ridiculous. But you know what the thing is? It's fucking obviously.
It was
it's
clever on their behalf,
100%
though, dude.
happened in North America,
Yeah.
including Canada. The way courts just run there, I think myself, are pretty fucking ridiculous, bro.
Clearly,
You know?
that child wasn't reasonably
You always,
chastised.
you,
and,
yeah, you always hear these cases of people in America coming up with the wackiest lawsuits, and it just fucking works.
I mean, I've watched a few documentaries on, like, not Canadian courts, but American courts, because
Yeah.
obviously that's
Yeah.
my profession. But it just seems like it doesn't make sense. I mean, if you bring a matter like this in South Africa,
That's what I was about to say. As
I
well.
cannot ever seen
Can
that.
I tell you what I'll
that
give
going,
people props
you know.
for? South African people won't even attempt something this stupid, which I fully respect.
Oh.
This is
Yeah.
some fucking person who was like,
just
"Let me
looking
try
to
and-"
make a
Yeah, you know, and I don't see South Africans will rather just tell the government straight up, give us money, we deserve it,
Yeah.
right? But these people are trying to go after companies for the most outlandish
Maybe,
things.
maybe in these situations, I don't know if legal costs
But-
are cheaper, because here, in
to
my
go
opinion,
about doing that.
the only person who would think about doing this is someone who wants money.
Yeah.
And
Obviously.
to get, obviously, attorneys on board,
It's gonna
go
cost
with
you a lot.
this
It's gonna
is
cost a
gonna
lot of money,
them
yeah.
First.
If
So it's
you
a big
find
risk.
if you find
Yes.
an attorney who thinks he's got a good chance of winning it, and you're looking at this big paycheck, he'll tell you, "Fine, I'll do it," and then I take a certain percentage of
Well,
what
that's a contingency fee
Exactly.
basis, which we try and
Yeah.
avoid completely.
Yeah. So, but what I'm trying to also include in just the Red Bull, the crazy fucking guy that sued Red Bull, is the people that do those stupid ones of like slipping on the floor at some place, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you find
yeah.
those in America all the time, but you hardly find them. People like
It's just people
Because
trying their
South
luck.
Africa, and it
It's
really
people
makes me
trying their
proud
luck.
to be a South African because we
Yeah.
don't really fucking
But
try our
also-
luck with these stupid things,
with
bro.
the
Yeah.
American court cases like that, you slip on the floor and they pay you, I don't know, $1 million or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not how it should work. Like in SA, I mean, you get paid for your actual damages sustained.
Exactly. And they look
and
how
stuff.
much. and
Why should you make a $900,000 profit off your slip?
I know.
mean,
And
Yeah.
but obviously, though, I think it does have a way that it does in America that it happens. But I think they just obviously try exploit it. They'll say, "No, my leg cost when it was $20,000."
but you have to provide evidence, dude. You can't just.
I know, but then emotional damage. They come with that kind of shit that you can't even put a price on. You know?
Yeah.
I've got emotional scarring from this. You know, people
That's
are
pathetic.
fucking dumb.
But an
trauma.
interesting thing, you know that I'm sure you've all heard about it, that the chick who burned herself on the with the McDonald's coffee.
I
And
think this it was a
she-
while back, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
she sued McDonald's and got a massive payout, and everyone was like, "What the fuck? That's pathetic." Something came out that I stumbled across, and she got like 3rd-degree fucking burns.
Actually, so it was quite severe.
She got hammered.
How much was
Oh no, way more than
because that
Yeah.
doesn't quite add up.
no. She's living in Beverly Hills now with
Yeah.
a mansion with 3rd-degree burns.
Yeah,
but
she's got a little scar,
Yeah.
but she's
It
living
just-
the life.
It just astonishes me though that fucking people try their luck like this.
But you
eh?
know,
and it's the stupidest thing. But you know what would be even funnier? Because obviously he's doing it for money.
yeah.
But how fucking funny would it be if he really drank a can of Red Bull, woke up the next day and tried to fucking fly? And he was
Well,
like,
dude, that's what I was about to
imagine
say.
he
Like,
really
I
believed
hope.
the shit, bro. I would have fucking loved it.
That's all you
I
have
hope
to
so,
argue.
shit.
The defense team literally has to say,
My client
Did
thinks
you fucking jump off?
Did
No,
you-
sorry, not the defense team. No, it would be the defense because Red Bull would be defending the matter. Yeah.
Yeah.
The defense team say, did you try fucking flying? Did you? What?
Did you wake up and look at your back and see if you had any wings?
Yeah, but I think maybe it's the media that spun it, and there was actually that. Oh, it didn't help me focus. It didn't.
Yeah.
Whatever. But
I don't know.
I
yeah.
mean, whoever Red Bull's attorneys are, you should be ashamed in yourself
Yeah,
because
you should have just come with the fucking defense of this is the dumbest thing ever. Because the thing is, their adverts in themselves are jokes. Have you seen they would like
Yes,
hand drawn?
Yeah,
Yes,
they look
yeah.
like
They don't have a
animations.
guy
Yeah.
standing there going
Animations.
"Rah," and then he gets fucking wings, bro. You
But
know, it
also,
doesn't
I mean,
work like that. His adverts.
their
You know?
settlements, instead of paying this dipshit to stop suing them, they've now given every single person who's bought Red Bull a fucking chance to come forward and claim money.
Yeah, but
know.
that's obviously just in efforts to try and squash the whole thing
Yeah, I think
as
so.
quickly as possible,
But-
as to try and like protect their brand image.
People are going to come
Surely.
for the next, unless it said you've got X amount of time to come and submit your claims and then you get
No,
paid.
surely it does, yeah.
Yeah.
And I also read that they were willing to give, I think it was $13 million or $10 million. And you just
So it was capped, yeah.
10 million rand, and it's capped. And once that money is up, and if you don't submit your claim, it's done. Sorry.
Okay.
You know?
It's an interesting approach to it. I mean,
Yeah.
but the actual guy, he got paid out.
He must have probably got a bit of
a.
a chunk. Yeah. I don't know exactly how much he got. It doesn't say how much he got himself, but I could imagine he got a bit out of it.
It just sounds
Otherwise,
absurd.
it was the biggest waste of his fucking time because you look like a twat. No.
Yeah, but I
That
mean,
is-
we don't know American law and Canadian law and all that stuff. So I mean, if we are wrong, please explain to us. But on the face of it, that sounds exactly what
Outlandish
happened.
claim.
It sounds
Yeah, but
Yeah.
maybe, like
Yeah.
we said, he maybe based the argument more on the physical and mental
regardless,
capabilities.
I think
Yeah.
that is pathetic. I mean, you're an adult human
But
being.
then it makes more sense.
makes
as to
more
why
sense to
they
me
won
as well, yeah.
You know why they
Mm.
actually got this far in the court case.
But I mean, put it simply, I mean, Red Bull does give you energy, does it not?
I thought you were going to say wings. I woke up and had fucking wings. Hold on a second.
Yeah, guys, I hate to interrupt you, but fuck, I had wings.
Go back and show them a photo.
I was one of the expert witnesses. Just sitting there like, I got wings.
So like crazy, you were just drunk and you were a fairy at a 21st. So that was the dress code.
Yeah, that's pathetic in my eyes.
Yeah.
That's-
Oh,
I guess
interesting
it is
nonetheless,
what
though,
happens.
that the people like this that fucking exist and they actually put this shit out, bro.
Hey, dude.
Yeah.
Props to him, bro.
Props to him, actually.
Props to him, dude.
Fuck, I wish I was him. I could do
That's
it.
incredibly
Like that.
impressive. It's
Yeah.
just pathetic. But I think as for a final note, I mean, if you're overseas followers or whatever, you may not be interested, but for us South Africans, we're obviously aware that we're in a Rugby World Cup. There's lots of sport going on at the moment.
Yeah,
Mm.
it's very interesting at the moment. We've got a
so-
lot of stuff happening.
Mm.
And I love how sport actually it affects you as a nation,
Yeah.
bro.
Sorry, I had to sort of change the topic that rapidly, but I just wanted to
Yeah.
touch on it before. we
Yeah.
conclude.
As South Africans,
Sports
yeah.
in general, though, has united countries.
It has. Because remember during the Cold War, right?
Yes.
Remember, I was fucking not born
Didn't you learn
yet.
about the Cold War? But so in the Cold War, when America did well as a nation in a sporting event, it felt like a victory over a different nation in the Cold War itself. You know,
Yeah.
Sport
And it brings
has
people
the
together.
power of doing amazing things.
Yeah.
Think
It'll bring
about it.
people
Okay?
together.
Apartheid ends, right? What could be one of the best things for us to do? Win a sporting event that gives us.
That was Rugby World
Yeah,
Cup.
dude. You
Yeah.
saw it in the 95
We won
World
it,
Cup, dude.
right?
Yeah.
And it shows you as a nation how we actually improve and how we stand behind each other. And it's that patriotism, you know, that love for the country, that love for the people, and that love for how we live and who we are. That actually really makes you develop and go forward as
Yeah.
a country, right? So like I said, with the Cold War, it was a big thing, you know. Olympic Games, that's why the Olympics, it got such a big like media boost over like the Cold War, you know.
Yeah.
And like every sporting event, I don't know if you've watched, there was a chess game between a Russian and a USA, someone from the United States. It was honestly one of the biggest chess games on earth. You must go watch the movie. It's incredible, right?
from the Cold War era.
From the Cold War era. And it was literally seen as whoever wins this chess
It
game.
was America
It was
versus
America
Russia. Yeah.
beating Russia, or it was Russia beating America.
Yeah.
They took it so intense. I'm getting goosebumps because I love how it affects people, right?
What's the movie called?
I'll get it for you now. It's called Pawn Sacrifice.
Okay.
Best movie ever, dude.
I don't want to type.
You know-
Porn sacrifice. Some porn star
What's going to come up over there, bro?
No, so
Spell it
you know
correctly, yeah.
who's Spider-Man? The first Spider-Man?
Toby Maguire. Yeah, I think.
Yes,
that's his
yeah.
name.
I think
Yeah.
he's the actor. I think he's the main actor, right? And it shows you they were fucking rock stars. Like for chess players, they were rock stars. There was media following them. It was the craziest thing. But I'm saying, America and all the other countries get behind their country
Yeah.
with everything, right? And I'm talking everything from content creators to
That's
sportsmen
incredible. Yeah.
to the country itself, its legislation, its government, everything, right? I feel like in South Africa, right, and I'm making a very bold claim here, but I feel like we back ourselves in sports, which is very good, but we're a bit pessimistic in all the other options that are available.
Yeah,
to
I
us,
mean,
you know?
it's a weird thing here in South Africa because when these sporting events happen, everyone comes together.
It does, and
And-
you feel the sense of we all won, right?
Yeah.
And I love that feeling, right?
But as soon as it's over,
It's gone.
for some reason, it like fades out. And that can go into different aspects, as you were saying,
Yeah.
in terms of the content creation, in terms of
Content creation, not just that. Be proud of our government. If we actually, okay, we can't be proud of our government. That was a fucking big leap. But I'm saying, be proud of our country. You know,
Yeah.
despite what the government's doing. You know,
Yeah.
be proud of South Africa because I mean, we do have a lot of people that have that view of, oh, it's cocky. I'm gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
yeah.
Shout out Tim. Okay. So you have this big fucking like, okay, if it's not going well here, let's go somewhere else. Instead of
Yeah.
what can I do to do
Like
this better?
the grass is
What-
greener for some reason.
What can I do to benefit my country? What can I do
Yeah.
to actually help my country?
There's actually a group. You must join it on Facebook.
I'm staying.
Ah,
I got
saw
invited
that,
to
I
that
saw
the other day,
Very
yeah.
interesting. My mom
It's
invited
actually
me
really
to
cool.
it,
It's
but there was a
great.
shitload of posts, so I left.
They do
It
post
filled
a
up my
lot. They do
Facebook,
post a
bro,
lot.
and, like,
No, but it's great.
But it's nice to
it's
see
good to
though,
see. It is very good to see.
Yeah,
because you
as
see different
know-
cultures and different
Yeah.
everyone
As you know,
integrating.
A
Awesome.
huge issue with South Africa is the racial tension. Unfortunately,
It is, yeah.
That's how it is at the moment.
And if we bring this sense of
Yeah.
patriotism together and we're all bound together, I think it's amazing.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
remember
awesome.
that thing I sent you guys about those two guys trying to go overseas to get Ellen DeGeneres, right?
Oh yes.
So, basically, my point of view is, right, if we were all proud South Africans, we would make something like this happen, right? I'm just pulling up the article here. But these two guys who, they first decided to go find some sort of plants in some sort of forest, okay? It was like a little thing they did. They started a documentary series called Hitched. Guys, if you're watching, please go watch these guys as well. Obviously, we like supporting
Hitched.
South Africa. It's called
Hitched,
Hitched, like
yeah.
hitchhiking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then they traveled so far, just trying to go find this plant, whatever it was. I might get that wrong, but now they're trying to get to Ellen DeGeneres, right?
They were
And
trying
they
to find a plant.
so it was some plant in a forest or something, right?
How does that relate back to Ellen DeGeneres?
That was their first conquer, right? So
Oh,
they
okay.
wanted to do that, right?
Where
And
was
then
the plant?
I think it was in the Congo or something, right? The
they
article is
find the
not
plant?
loading. They did. So the
great
first
news.
the first mission was done. They now in Russia, right? And go check their Instagram out, guys. Go follow them on Instagram. And
Who are? Did you follow?
so it's
Hitched
called
or-
Luke. Is the one guy's name is Luke McDonald, and the other guy's name is someone Dealey. I'll find the names for you now if this article can just load. But yeah, so I'm just want to let you know that they're trying to do this thing. It's a hashtag. They're trying to start for Hey Ellen. Trying to get her attention because they want to. They've really had some incredible adventures, right? And they just want that to be globally broadcasted. They have their own show that they do, like a little documentary series that Discovery actually picked up. That Travel Channel or whatever, and they've done really good stuff online. And they're just trying to get to Ellen to obviously boost that, right? So what I'm saying is, as South Africans, bring it back to patriotism. We all need to get behind creators like this. We all need to get behind people like this and boost them as well, because that's the only way it's going to happen. It's going to happen within our country first, and then people in other countries are going to realize this.
What's interesting is that you talk about this now. It's the first time I've ever
heard about it.
And I'm a South African myself, and this is quite a big deal. So it just shows
it's very interesting. I just want to get their names and the whole thing pulled up there.
Who's the problem then? I mean, is it the media? Because they are our sources.
It is. That's a very interesting, way to look at it. Is it the media in South Africa or is it the people itself? But I think it's a combination of both.
I think so. People are so disheartened at the moment as well.
So we're going to put the link to their video trying to get to Ellen. If you can just go look in the comments. Obviously, try to support their cause. But
and in no way have they asked us to do this. We don't know.
We don't even know this.
We have no idea.
I think it's very good trying to boost South African people,
100%,
Push your sportsmen. At the moment right now, go put a fucking rugby jersey on and go watch the game.
And go support it.
I don't care if it's 12 o'clock on a Thursday. You get a beer, you skip work, and you go watch the fucking rugby,
100%, dude.
If you've also watching this, if you've got other situations like this that need...
Let us know about it. We'd love to speak about people like this.
We can discuss it.
They're really doing some incredible shit, I got their names. It's Luke and Jordan. So it's Luke McDonald and Jordan Dealey, right? Okay. Their Instagram is Hitched. All of it will be in the in the description, obviously, for you to go have a look up and read up about it yourself. But to just conclude, basically, I just want to say, guys, we need to support our South African sportsmen, be proud of our country, use that patriotism and actually boost
artists,
everyone. Artists, musicians, rugby players,
everyone, support each other.
Support people, Make sure that we help South Africa succeed. If we get that mentality right and we're very patriotic about ourselves, we're going to be a better country.
I'm sure we can make this country.
South Africans are sort of... we see what's on the news every day. It's the same repetitive shit that
fuck all the bad stuff.
Pessimistic
as well. It's all
pessimistic.
It's all pessimistic. Why don't we just cut that shit? I'm trying to stop. I'm obsessed with politics. I don't know why, but I've managed to just stop watching it.
It's the same thing.
Same show.
Over and over and over again.
And these guys, you can see, they put so much effort into making this documentary series, and it's so good. And I really do, and I think we're going to expand on it more when we bring on other guests. So we are going to be bringing on guests into the show, and we have a few lined up already. But what we're going to do is expand a bit more on social media and that kind of stuff and boosting it. But just to conclude, basically, go follow every South African and try to help every South African succeed, because if we do it as a country, we're going to boost each other. And then when bad things happen, like the government fucks us over, we're all going to stand there together holding hands and laughing and having a good time.
We need to stop considering the actions of the government and the news agencies as what's critically important. Why don't we do our own thing? We support everyone and we not start a movement, because there's a movement there already, but this is where we go from it.
I agree 100%.
100%, dude.
So I hope everyone enjoyed the first episode of the Weekly Order.
We gave it a bash. One technical difficulty.
That's it.
Not too bad.
We'll obviously be coming to you guys weekly, and you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and Facebook.
And Instagram.
We're everywhere, basically.
You can email us, bro.
You can email us too if anyone has any suggestions.
Give us your suggestions. Give us guests that you'd like to see. Give us any sort of...
And also, let us know what you think of this first podcast.
Let us know what you think, and let us know basically what you'd like to see.
If you were laughing at us, if you were laughing with us, whatever it is.
I want to try to keep it obviously South African and make it for the South African.
So we're a bunch of... We work in professional industries essentially, and we decided to start a podcast for...
And now we've done it. So
like we said, basically we have no experience in this industry. So you guys can find us on all those platforms. Thanks for watching, guys.